is for you. What one thing that Bob Iger cut out of the show at the last second do you wish was still in?
I'm hoping to cut the little evolutionary process.
Crazy question. What she asked is basically the show had a lot of creative people working on it, and one was the head of the company, Bob Iger, and he was very passionate about it. Bob is a great creative partner. John Lasseter worked on the show too. We had Tom Schumacher. I mean, pretty much everybody in the company came out to play because it was such a kind of new piece of media. How do we look at it? Probably Alice, I think, because that's always been a kind of crazy thing on the internet. Well, Alice is gone. How dare they cut Alice?
She's still there. She opens the cannoli for you.
She does. We actually snuck Alice back. Snuck her back in, if you know. But that was part of it, was that we decided to put new things in. And because we needed time, we started to look at the show going, okay, what sequences do we want to go?
It started to get...
Oh, was it 32 minutes?
I think he actually, it was over 30 minutes.
Yeah, I have to have it 26 minutes because I have to turn it 3 times.
So there were some tough choices.
There are some operational things. But, the great thing is that we're always going to be changing it. And, I vow to do that. I know Mary will support that.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's the great part of the show, is that it's very flexible. There's some exciting new stuff coming. We're not going to tell you what it is, but, you will see things change.
My name is Janelle. I just wanted to know, how much has your water bill gone up since you started World of Color?
Actually, the water is completely recycled. So, it's not, we take the water from the lagoon, it goes up, it comes back down, it gets reused again, it gets filtered throughout the evening.
Most of it comes back down.
Well, we actually did a story on this on the blog with one of our first stories.
Yeah. But it's true, because about 98% of those fountains actually have individual pumps right at the base of each fountain. So we did it more for maintenance as well, and be able to control the fountains individually. So it really is taking water right from the lagoon. And then the last 2% is taking the filter, the big filter plant that filters that whole lagoon and keeps it, in good shape. We use those pumps to do the big back screens. But that's also taking water from the lagoon. So we're taking no water outside the lagoon.
Well, and the company's very green. And the biggest thing we did is, even before we started, we took every last drop that was in the lagoon, all 15 million gallons, and recycled them back to the city, which was a big, big feat, trust me. Trying to get water back.
You're out of time, and they said, no, the best way to do this is to take, instead of us doing it in 4 days, they said, no, we need to take 6 weeks.
And so when we rebuilt it, we actually took from the water bank that we had deposited that lagoon water originally. So it really is a great recycling story.
Hi, my name is Kimberly. I have a question for you, Steve. How do you make the glitter effect in the Wally scenes and different?
It's magic, The glitter effect, I'll give you a little secret. It really is, it was a magical discovery. We were playing one night, and all the disciplines were doing everything at the same time. Projections, shooting stuff, and the lasers are going, and the fountains are programming, and it was kind of mass chaos, like the beginning of an orchestra
She was
session.
making notes, just not paying attention.
And then you look up every now and then, and something will catch your eye. You're like, oh, what's that? Do that again. And you make everybody stop. And what was happening is that the fountains were flying through the lasers that were at an upper level. And I'm like, wow, that's really cool. Do it again, do it again, do it again, do it again.
We all ran out.
And I become like a little kid, and I run out going, ooh, pretty, 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 pretty. And it's what we call discoveries, that I'd never seen it before. I've seen a lot of laser shows and stuff, but it was kind of this magic thing, because the air is so pure here, that when you shoot lasers through the sky and you run water through it, it only picks it up where the water hits the lasers. So that's how a lot of that magical effect's done. The beginning of the show, where you just see dots in the sky and the dots move. That's the coolest thing ever. That's my favorite part of the show.
Hi, my name's Vicki, and I'm one of the few people who actually haven't seen World of Color yet. So I'm totally excited, and thank you for doing this meetup. I've been reading about it for ages, and this is a very basic question, but considering all the different other Disney kinds of spectacular shows that there are, where did the idea of doing so much against water come from?
we wanted to do something different, actually. The park asked us to look at doing spectacular for them. And since it's in my job title, everyone in the theatrical division goes, it's yours, it's yours. So I still do. I do all the fireworks shows for us. And part of it wasn't to do that again. We did a Christmas show here, for those of you who saw it. That was a pure fireworks show, because that's what we knew at the time. And it was just like a smoke-out, crazy, crazy show for Christmas. And we actually stopped doing it. And we started to learn about what would work well here. Well, the biggest piece of land to work with for a spectacular, so enough people could see it, was the lagoon. And we pretty much haven't done water shows. We have fountains in some of our other spectaculars, but nothing on this scale. So we basically just looked at it and said, hey, let's do stuff with water like we do with fireworks. And that was, can water tell little stories of color and light and stuff. So that's kind of how it started. And then we're all fountain specialists now. If you need one for your home, let me know. Good with pools, too.
We wanted to know, in the beginning, how long did you think it was going to be before opening day would be here? Was it always summer 2010?
The spring.
Spring.
Spring 2000.
We made spring.
Yeah.
We did make spring.
Summer doesn't start till June 27th.
There was so much debate about that. It was like on the internet, they're never going to open. And then people were posting things like, oh, this happened, and now it's not till next fall. And we always said the spring. The dates moved a little bit based on just construction, because it was all new. No one had ever done giant floating platforms. I mean, one platform is literally the size of this room that goes up and down and does stuff. And they are brilliant, brilliant designs. And a lot of that took a lot of time. We're still learning every day about this stuff. So it literally was, here's the date, we're going to make it. And once we set
the date,
that was
it actually, to not only was it a little terrifying, but when the teams came back and said, oh, we need 2 weeks to do that. Steve would go, opening date is June 11th. We are done on June 11th. There's no question.
So we're done on June 11th, but
It was helpful as well as being terrifying.
Yeah, there was a lot of dates floating, but when we finally decided that's what we did. And the team worked amazing. I think we had 2 days off, was the longest day off that we ever had.
Hi, I'm Josh. I wanted to know what influenced you guys to bring in so many different kinds of media, like you have the paper puppets and the sand art. How did you think to bring them into this water show and add them to the event?
I sent them an
and
email.
he flew in from Georgia to be here today.
You did? Oh, you could ask your question. It literally was, I treated the show like Fantasia. The show very much is developed and it feels like Fantasia to me, where things just blend and move to music. And I was looking at Fantasia, we're doing a lot of work with feature animation, and I'm like, oh, I saw, somebody sent me on Facebook a crazy thing about this paper artist, and she had just won So You Think You Have Talent or something in like Romania. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. You know, we should do paper art. Oh wait, that was a sand art. I'm sorry, that was sand art. And so I'm like, oh, so I sent her a note, never heard back. And so I went online and just started doing research into sand artists. And so I found one. And Corey, and then I sent her an email, and she lived in Tahoe, and basically we met and said, hey, I want you to work on this section of the show. Same with Megan that did the paperwork. It was just kind of, hey, let's try this and see what it can do. Some of it was great, some of it didn't work as well as it wanted to, but it was great experimentation. It was kind of like, somebody said to me, which I won't tell you who it was, but I'll tell you later. They said, Walt would be very proud of what you're doing, which was, I loved, because that meant a lot to me, because he knew Walt. And what was wonderful was that it was very true that we were just trying new stuff. You know, let's try some new types of animation and see, because there was no boundaries at this point for the show. You've been very patient.
Hi, my name's Matthew. I just wanted to compliment you on how amazing the World of Color show is. It's just so impressive that the Bellagio fountain show has about as much visual impact as washing my car with a garden hose. That's so awesome. Thank you. Do you believe that the people in Vegas openly wept?
Hi there, I'm Patrick from Vista, California. Steve and creative team, I just have to say that the attention to detail is absolutely amazing. I've seen the show probably 17 times, and it took me my 6th time to see the butterflies in the
Very good.
Colors of the Wind, because I like to watch it from the front row. But in terms of some of the designing process, are we going to be seeing Turnbach back, the Turnbach Tower, or anything else that is such a detail that you might not necessarily know is not there yet?
Well, maybe. To be honest, Turnbach won't come back as we originally created him. We actually programmed Turnbach and brought it up, and we were working with John Lasseter one night. We just came to the decision that it wasn't good enough. And it was true. I mean, it was just, we always used to laugh sometimes. It just didn't
Took
quite.
you out of the moment, because even though we disguised it a lot, all of a sudden it was a big structural thing that sort of got in the way.
It wasn't organic. It was a design flaw, I think, really on my end, because I wanted to do it. And it's there. I mean, we could actually bring it up and project it tonight if we wanted to. It is finished, but it just... But it never quite had the feeling that it does now when we went back, because basically at that point they said you can have whatever animation you want. So we went back and got a lot of really cool stuff from Turnbach and did stuff to it and really augmented it. Because when he's behind that wall of water and goes like this, I'm scared.
Hi, my name is Mike. This question's kind of out there, but if World of Color was a Jamba Juice flavor, what kind of color would it be?
All right, one more.
I can't even answer. I'm trying to think of a cute answer, but it's a multi-layered. You'd have to get 6 different ones and layer them.
And layer them up. Exactly.
Take this right there.
Hi, my name's Ashley, and I'm actually taking my mom for her birthday here. Her birthday. We've also never seen the show. So my question for each one of you is, what is your absolute favorite scene in the whole show?
It's really hard, actually. I love Pokemon. There's something, Pokemon was the very first thing in the program. It was actually one of the very first things we developed, the storyboard in its completed form, and it has been true from day one. So it really hasn't changed. I mean, if you saw the animatic, that was 2.5 years before that, we did storyboards. And the fact that there's a moment where the big sweep in the back, which you'll see tonight, and it's just so sort of encompassing, and when it moves towards you, because we started to get things from, as you saw from Fabrice, it was showing us actually the trees moving towards you. Wow, that's so cool. And what we found out there is the happy surprise is that everything, if you have something, you see a lot of this in the Zerg piece, you have Buzz flying at you, you have a whale coming at you. It's so effective when it's traveling forward. So to me, I would say Pokemon's my favorite moment in the show. I've lost others, but that's probably the most special.
Mine's the wacky one. It's the genie moment. We wanted to do the genie early on, but we didn't think it would work. And that's why the genie made a comeback, actually, at the very, very end. He was added late in the game. Because we knew so much about the system. It has so much, those fast, crazy runs. If you actually watch some of the footage from the Sky film, the 1800 film that's on the blog, you'll see how some of it's done. It's amazingly fast, how we're chasing light and then we're following the water. It's just crazy how some of that stuff was done. And we knew how to do it at that point. And typical, I'm a big kid anyway, it's like candy moving around. Whee! So that's probably my favorite. It's a very, very favorite. It's like,
Yeah, there's so many great moments. One that I...
Dory.
At least I love the karaoke. I think one of the things that I love is I actually love the saddest moment in it, which if you haven't seen it, I'm not going to give it away, but you'll know it by the end of the night, because we rarely go that emotional. We go happy emotional, but not the sad. And it's brief enough that it doesn't take you down, and it comes right after that follows kind of that transformational message, which is so beautiful. but it's just that, it's a very quiet, special moment that tells a story with just a couple of words, so.